עם אדוני עושה שמיים וארץ, אל ייתן למוט רגליך, אל ינום שומרך, הנה לא ינום ולא יישן שומר ישראל. אדוני שומרך, אדוני צילך, על יד ימינך. יומם השמש לא יככה וירח בלילה, אדוני ישמורך מכל רע, ישמור את נפשך. אדוני ישמור צאתך ובואך מעתה ועד עולם, מעתה ועד עולם, מעתה ועד עולם. Good evening. Last week, we started the book of Bereshit, an event that would change the whole history of the world and the way we see life, the way we deal with life every day would be forever changed. God creates man after creating an extraordinary universe. A universe so great, planet Earth, the distance between the Earth and the Moon is 400,000 kilometers. Between the Earth and the Sun, 1.5 million kilometers. Between the Earth and Jupiter, which is only the second heaven according to the Midrash, and there are 7 of those, is 2 light years. A universe that's forever expanding. A multitude of vegetation, animals, cattle, birds, fish, an extraordinary body of water. All of this is created just before the creation of man. Man is the last of the creations. But it's interesting because there is an intrinsic difference, a most quintessential difference between the creation of man and the creation of everything else. When it comes to everything else, Hashem says, and there is. When it comes to the creation of man, God first creates the body, and then in a second step, Vayipach be'apav nishmat chaim, God blows into his nostrils a breath of life. Why? Why is everything in the universe created with speech, but man created in 2 steps? What is the sod? What is the secret here? Well, everything has a dual reality. You have the body, you have the soul. And when you create in 1 step body and soul, it means that there is a perfect balance between body and soul. On the other hand, when God decides to create man without any vitality, what does that mean? What is vitality? What is energy? Vitality, energy, call it the soul, is really the purpose of each and every single creation. So every creation is created with its vitality. But man is created with no vitality whatsoever. What does that mean? It means that man is the lowest of all creations. How? Well, very simple. If mineral life, vegetable life, animal life is created with its vitality, and man is created with no vitality, is created with no purpose. It means that man is even lower than mineral life. If man is lower than mineral life, why is it that way? What is the second step in creation? The second step in creation is Vayipach, and God blew into his nostrils a breath of life. Contrary to speech, man's vitality comes from God's breath, so to say. What is God's breath? Why the analogy of breath? When you speak, there's a certain vitality that comes out of your mouth. But when you breathe, it's something that comes from your depth. So if everything was created as something which is very low in vitality, man's soul is really at the depth and the essence of the Creator that's invested in man. So the Gemara in Chagiga, page 16, says that in three things we resemble angels. In three things we resemble angels because we stand upright, not like animals which are on four. We are able to speak Hebrew, the holy language of the Torah, and the holy language of creation, with which God created the whole universe. And we have that. We have the power to discern, the power of discernment, to be able to know good from bad, to separate, and to see the purpose in everything. On the other hand, we resemble the animal in three things. We reproduce, we relieve ourselves, and we eat and drink. So really, man is what we call the Bria Tichonit, the central creation which associates heaven and earth in one body. So what happens? What happens is that the earthly element of man is the lowest of the whole creation. But the godly vitality we have in ourselves is the highest of all creation. It's the essence of creation itself. To use the language of Kabbalah, Nitzotz Boreh Benivra, a spark of the Creator of the whole universe, in a Nivra, in a creation. Every single one of us here. Why? Well, there's a concept that when you want to lift something heavy, how do you do it? You want to lift a pail. Do you lift it from the sides? No. You lift it from the lowest point so it lifts up everything. Well, if man, which is the lowest of creation, elevates himself, the whole universe, the whole ecosystem, the spiritual worlds, the highest levels of the spiritual worlds are all elevated. If on the other hand, man lowers himself to something which is lower than his purpose, then at this moment he takes all of the worlds, all of the supernal realities, everything in creation is lowered. And that's exactly what happened. Adam and Chava are in the Garden of Eden. Hashem says, you should eat from all the trees, from all the fruits, enjoy. But from the tree of knowledge, I call it the tree of experience, the tree of connection, so to say. Then that tree you cannot touch. You can't eat. What happens? Man is created 10 hours before Shabbat. Every hour he is formed more. At the 7th hour, at the beginning, Adam and Chava were one unit. One unit. Like Siamese brothers and sisters. God did the first perfect operation. I won't look at the women as I'm saying this. Man had to be put to sleep first. Maybe you would not agree. And then, at that moment, God in His great sense of humor separated what was one body, one mind, into two separate bodies, putting the woman facing the man. And after that, the snake came to seduce the woman, engage her into a discussion. I heard God told you that you can't eat from any of the fruits. You see, this is already so conniving, so deceiving. He knows that it's only from one tree. But he tells her, I heard you can't eat anything. You know why? Because the beginning of the downfall of man is when you start exaggerating, when you change the truth. That's why Adam made already a terrible mistake. He told his wife, not only can you not eat, you can't touch. He wanted to protect her. Sometimes, we find this many times. A man wants to be a macho. He wants to be the boss. He wants to show that he's great. So he puts these extra boundaries around his wife. He doesn't realize that a wife is supposed to be a partner, not your child. And at that moment, the snake is able to start. He starts a discussion. So what did God say? And he said, you can't touch. Can't touch. He pushes her. You touched, nothing happened. You know why God doesn't want you to eat? Because then you'll become godly yourself. So she eats from the tree of knowledge. And at that moment, history is changed forever. A few questions. Why did the snake wait? Instead of engaging Chava when she was still one with Adam, she waited till they were separate beings. Rabbi Natan of Breslev, the student of Rabbi Nachman, teaches an incredible lesson. He says, as long as man and woman are one mind, one body, one heart, one reality, the snake has absolutely no power. The moment they become two minds, two realities, then there's an opening, there's a fissure, there's a place to go and to start seducing. From here we learn an extraordinary lesson. Because we have a lot of young men and young women. And we're looking to establish a home. The most important thing is to find that person that you're going to flow with. That person that's going to be with your mind. Doesn't mean that they'll have the same mind as you. But when it comes to the mind is going in the same direction. Once you have that, you're protected from every and any type of attack, and at the same time, you have a power to be able to draw down all the blessings. As it says in the Pasuk, Zachar unekeva baraotam vayvarech otam Elokim. God created man, male and female, and He blessed them. Chassidut and Kabbalah explain that man and woman, two entities becoming one, the synergy of both is able to draw down the power of the Ein Sof, the power of infinity. If for a man, a woman is the reflection of his evil inclination, the moment he marries the woman, she becomes that protection against all evil inclination and gives man the power to reach the highest possible levels. And that's why the crisis of Shalom Bayit is so difficult. That's why it's so difficult for two people to come in a union and actually be one. Because that's the biggest challenge of life. Because if they're one, then what did we say before? The action of man down here has the power to affect everything all the way up to the source. So once a man and a woman are united, then at that moment the whole world is united. And it says in the Zohar Kadosh, in Parashat Truma, that the moment there's unity above, between the giver and the receiver, in Hebrew, the gever and the woman, then at that moment, the power of synergy is so incredible that the light that comes out of that energy is so powerful that it literally blinds all powers of evil. And therefore, our sages teach us, God did not find a vessel, a recipient, a channel to be able to receive and draw down blessing more than peace. The snake knew that, and that's why once they were separate, this is the moment that it all starts, that all difficulties start. So many people are arguing for the most insignificant things. It's absolutely mind-boggling to me. So let's continue the story. Adam and Chava in the garden. What was supposed to happen? Let's try plan A. Plan A, they didn't eat from the tree of knowledge. They resisted for 3 hours and they came into Shabbat. They lived forever and that's it. Why didn't God just do it that way? Really, we think about it, we're not talking about a human like us that's created from a father and mother. We're talking about a human that's been created by God's hands. The Midrash recounts that the light that was coming out of the heel of Adam HaRishon, Adam the first man, was so powerful that it made the sun look dark. Imagine. K'mo Shemesh. Every one of them, Adam and Chava, were like two the most brilliant, extraordinary spiritual beings in a physical body, which was translucent and permitted the light of their soul to shine all over the world. How could they not resist? And really, maybe we should ask a question on God, like Rav Zusha of Anipoli and Rabbi Lemelech of Nijans asked. Why Did God maybe want it this way? I actually love that explanation of Rabbi Chay Amar and Rabbi Elimelech. He said, imagine for a second that Adam and Chava would not have sinned. Let's rewrite the whole scenario. Please, let's go in a time machine 5,786 years ago and a month. Adam, Chava. The snake says to Chava, you know, you could be God if you eat. No, I don't want to become God. And then they live forever. Outside, you look at them and you say, wow, such incredible, spiritual, powerful beings. But think about it for a second. What would happen in their mind? What would they be thinking? When a young man goes out with a lady, he's offered to go out with a young girl, young lady. And at the end, he sees the picture, he says, oh, this is for me. But something else comes instead, and he goes out with the other girl. What happens in the back of his mind? Maybe it could have been better with her. Maybe it could have been better with him. That's the way the mind works. What would have happened if? So imagine Adam and Chava looking at like these godly beings, but they said in their mind they would think, you know, I could have been God. If I would have eaten from that tree of knowledge, I could have been God. What does that mean, practically speaking? It means that externally they would have looked like godly beings, but internally they would have been completely disconnected from God. Because inside, their ego would be so great. And therefore, says Rav Zushe Avani Poli, Rabbi Elimelech of Nizham, that was the lesson. God wanted man to understand that he is mortal and that God is infinite, not him. But again, why could they not resist? There's an incredible lesson that the Rebbe gives us. That a person has a mission in the world. The whole mission of Adam and Chava was to overcome that one and only challenge. What happens when you have a mission? Then all the forces of evil understand that the moment that you're going to fulfill your mission, you're going to transform the world forever. And therefore, the Satan himself went and fought against Adam and Chava in order for them not to fulfill their mission. If they would have resisted, and if everything would have changed. So, this is a great lesson for every single one of us. Whenever you find something which is very difficult, something which is very challenging, you have to know that that's your mission in life. So you're going to say, so should I give up? He says, no. Dafka. Because it's so difficult, God gives you the power to be able to overcome it. There are things sometimes in life that we see are so easy for somebody else, but for you, it's the most difficult thing. For one person to control their anger is like, wow, it's impossible. This guy's always getting angry. She's always getting angry. For another person, it doesn't matter what people say to her or to him. They're always in control, it seems. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't even affect them. It's over their head. Why? So I want to tell you, one of the most challenging moments is when you get married. And I believe that that's why people are so scared to get married. That's why we have a crisis, you could say, of so many young men and women around the world that don't find. Because somewhere, somewhat, a person is scared to be challenged. I want things just to flow, to be easy, to be natural. I want somebody that's going to be easygoing and just do whatever I feel. Be the top model without the character and the defects. Be the provider without demanding anything. Marriage, that unity, I would say is the biggest challenge of man. Because it puts you in a situation that you cannot avoid. I remember when I was in yeshiva, some 33 years ago, I thought I knew what love was, what respect of another is, what Ahavat Israel is, loving your fellows yourself. You sleep in what's called a pnimya, a dormitory. You share a room with 4 other people. One doesn't know what it means to respect the other person's sleep. The other person doesn't understand the concept of showering. The other one doesn't understand what it means to not make any noise. Each one with his character. And I'm so good. Shai, you're the best. You love everyone. Look, you're not saying a word. You accept. And then I got married. And suddenly I started being irritated. And suddenly I wasn't this incredible guy that everything was flowing. What happened to me? Of course, when you know that after a year you're not going to be with these guys anymore, you could say I can wait a year. But the reality of marriage is a reality that's day in and day out. Morning, lunch, and supper. There's no going back, going away from who you are. You have to transform yourself, or else it's just going to be chaos or chaos in the house. So God, in His great sense of humor, asks us to repair the world. And how do we repair the world? By repairing ourselves. How do you repair yourself? By actually getting married. Once you get married, at that moment, you get married to what I call a magnifying mirror. I never had a sister. So when I was young, I would stand next to my mother, she lived long and be well. When she would look in these funny mirrors that women use, which magnify everything. I never understood why women do that. And from there I learned this analogy. Something that's very small suddenly becomes 100 times bigger. So it seems terrible. Why should I get married to a woman? Imagine. Each time I'm going to do something wrong, she's going to be that big mirror that's going to show me, oh look, you need to fix this. So maybe I should just live by myself. And a lot of people, that's what they consider. On the other hand, the other side of the medal is that the sages, it says in the Torah, in Bereshit, Lo tov heyot ha'adam levado. Man is no good by himself. What does it mean he's no good? It means that the true goodness of man cannot be revealed if he doesn't have a woman in his life. Because the same way she's a magnifying mirror to push him to fix what he needs to fix. She's a magnifying mirror that will believe in him and get him to reach a potential that he doesn't know that he has. So it's very difficult. Should I get into this whole project? People pay thousands of dollars to go to a Tony Robbins coaching session, transform your life. And to other coaches, I want to tell you the best coaching session that will actually transform your life is marriage. Nothing else will do it like marriage. But what is the tool? What is the tool to be able to overcome the challenges of marriage? And what is the biggest enemy to marriage, your relationship? Any idea? What is the biggest enemy to a marriage? What? Ego. It's impossible to dance if you're not supple. If you're stiff, it's impossible to flow. You'll be always having a lot of emotional bruises. In order to be able to really be one in a marriage, you need to be able to set aside your ego and say, I'm ready to surrender. To who? To God. Many people think, I'm going to live la vida loca. I'm just going to enjoy life. I'm going to go, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do whatever I want. And when I get married, everything will fix itself. I want to tell you, whatever challenges you did not overcome before will face you once you get married. So it's going to force you to change and transform yourself. But at that moment that you're ready to do that inner work of transforming yourself, you're going to discover incredible qualities and a potential and a power that you never knew you had. And it goes as well for man and for woman. So that's the challenge. The real challenge is, like the Ben Ish Chai says, that the external appearance of a woman is the reflection of the internal appearance of man. And the external appearance of a man is the reflection of what's happening inside a woman. Once you become one, at that moment you're in a state of flow. When you're in a state of flow, there's no greater level of connection with yourself, with your spouse, with God, and there's no greater channel to receive all the blessings. And that's why the Torah says, the Talmud says that if you honor your wife, you'll become rich. The Gaon of Vilna says it's very interesting. What was the curse of a woman? Vehu yimshol bach. Man will dominate you. What is the curse of the woman? What is the curse of man? Bezeat apecha tochalechem. You're going to have to really work hard in order to make money. Says the Gaon of Vilna something extraordinary. He says, if you're able to transform her curse and not be the dominant one, then Hashem will transform your curse and give you your parnasah, your sustenance with an incredible flow. What is the first marriage of man? What is the first marriage? Our first marriage is the marriage with our souls, with our subconscious, with our inner being. How do we deal with life? Are you? What happened? What happened to Adam and Chava? I don't understand. Everything is permitted to you. there's one tree that's not permitted, and that's the only thing you're focused on, what's the matter with you? Because that's the nature of man. When something is prohibited, that's the only thing that becomes important. One of the commentaries says something incredible. He says, what was their mistake? Their mistake is that they had a commandment to eat from the other trees. And if they would have eaten from the tree of life, then they would never have sinned. There would have been a mitzvah to eat from the other tree, from the tree of knowledge. Because they would have been able to associate the knowledge of below with the supernal life of above. But isn't that the story of every single one of us? Through growing in life, we have so many things which are pleasureful, so many things which are exciting and permissible, and we look for what's not. We have so many things to thank God for, and we look for what's going wrong. That was the sin. So the beginning of transformation starts with appreciating the incredible gifts, pleasures that God gives you every day of your life. And to make peace with yourself. It's very hard to make peace with yourself. Why is it hard? Because on one hand, we live a dual reality. The reality of the body, the reality of the animal soul, is that it's only interested by physicality. Look at our hands, our arms, our fingers. When we walk, these arms, which are the extension of the heart, where do they point? They point towards the floor, towards physicality. The animal soul by nature is just interested in taking a pleasure. It's emotional. It's an emotional machine that just wants to fulfill emotions and pleasures and feel good. It has intellect as well, but it's all about fulfilling its self-centered, egotistical desires. The soul, on the other hand, has a completely different nature. Just like it says, Ner Hashem Nishmat Adam, the soul of man is really the flame of God. So the soul by nature just wants to escape. I want to get out of there. I just want to escape reality. I don't care if I'm not going to exist. Just like the flame is ready to leave the wick just to go with its source. So the question is, if you have these two powers, because the real reason why God created these two in two steps was in order to get the best and the most powerful soul and the most powerful body. That's the first marriage for man. So how do you make peace? How is it possible to make peace with two individuals? You have an animal and you have a man. You have an animal and you have a soul. What's the common denominator? What's the common ground where they can make peace? Intellect. The mind, even of the animal soul, is looking to higher things. And the soul has a nature to go higher. So if you start filling your mind with higher purpose, a higher mission, a higher direction, at that moment, you're able to actually transform the incredible power of your body and give it the power to propel your soul to levels which are incredible. Just like a man by himself can sow, can plow, but how much can he actually harvest? But if he has an ox and he directs the ox in the right direction, he's able to do incredible things and get so much more back. The same thing. The power of the body, the power of the animal soul, isn't for the purpose of the animal soul. It's for the purpose of elevating it to the highest possible level. The same thing between a man and a woman. Once you're able to put yourself in the same line of thought, and one is able to encourage the other, at that moment you're ready, you're able to propel yourself to incredible levels. But in order to do it, what is the connecting point between a woman and a man? I remember one day, my friend's father, who was a rabbi, took me aside, says, Shai, you know what turns on a woman the most? What? You know what turns on a woman? What? What are you talking about? He says this, a connection of the mind. When your mind and her mind are one, she's open to everything. If your mind is independent and not connected to her mind, then it doesn't matter what you're going to do. It's all going to be superficial, mechanical. It's not going to be a union. The real union between soul and body is the same union that exists between a man and a woman. It starts with the mind. Am I able to communicate with that person? Am I able to be myself with that person? A lot of people ask me, what are the 3 things that you know this is the person? I flew to Paris over 30 years ago to meet a young lady. Didn't happen. She asked too many questions. You know, when you go on a date, it's very important to ask 3 questions. You have to, when you go on a date, you have to ask 3 questions. You have to speak about food, family, and philosophy. So this guy goes out with this girl, and he says, do you like fettuccine Alfredo? And he's talking to Phil, is it? It's okay, you know it. Do you like fettuccine Alfredo? He says to her. She says no. Do you have a brother? He says no. Okay, philosophy. If you had a brother, would he like fettuccine Alfredo? So, anyways, it didn't go out very well because she was asking about all the situations, whose side I would take. And she had like a list of questions, bombarded me with questions. I said, thank you very much. I went out with another girl. I knew right away it's not for me. And then they said there's a very nice young lady. We went out on Monday. We went out on Wednesday afternoon. Thursday I proposed. Still married. We got married 2.5 months later. We didn't see each other for a month. I barely recognized her under the chuppah. She recognized me, of course. So, how did we do it? And why is it so complicated today? The first thing you want to know is, am I myself with this person? People put such a show on. It's so difficult to maintain a show. You know, you have this guy who goes out with this girl that goes out with this boy. Are you Shomer Shabbat? Are you? Yes. Oh, so am I. Goes out with somebody else. Are you Shomer Shabbat? Are you? No, I'm not. Me neither. Who are you? What are you? Who am I getting married to? Who am I going to establish my house with? Are you flowing with this? Are you yourself? And do you think and do you feel that this person is themselves there? She's herself. He's himself when you go out. Then that's already the first step. Are you attracted? Well, today, obviously, if you're not, you won't be going out. And the third thing is, would you trust them if you want a trip to take care of your kids and educate your children in the way you would like? What are your goals? Are you looking in the same direction? These are the things which are essential in life. All the rest, things change. Physical appearance changes. Everything changes. One day I had a couple come see me. He says, Rabbi, she's not the same woman I married. She changed. I said, thank God she changed. Imagine if she was still stuck up with a 20-year-old brain. Now that she's 30 and she's 40, she should not change. You shouldn't evolve. You should be able to grow together. What's the matter with you? Actually, it's the friction there is in a couple that actually brings them together. Why do we love our kids so much? You know why? Why does it hurt us when they're not doing the right thing? Because at 2 o'clock in the morning we change their diapers, and then we change their diapers again. And then when they were clean and smelling good, we changed it again. Woke up at 2, 3, 4, took them to the hospital, took them to the doctor, took them back, took care of their education. They got thrown out of school, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to tell you my whole story. Anyways, you're so invested in somebody. That's what love is. Love is not what you see in the movies. It's not the unlimited credit card. Right? I didn't get my Fendi bag. Oh, you're so offended. Sorry for offending you. Come on. This is life. I once had a couple come to me. This was maybe 28 years ago. I spoke to them separately. He's never home. He never spends time with me. Okay, I hear you. It's essential to spend quality time together. So, what's the story? Look, she wants an apartment in Miami and New York. So besides my 2 jobs, I had to take an extra 3rd job. Of course, is never home. What do you want? You want him? You want a relationship? Or you want what sounds and shows good on Instagram, TikTok, and all the other social... Whose life are you living? Are you ready to live your life with somebody that's really going to care and invest themselves fully? Once you make that commitment in your life, once you make that commitment in your mind, then you will find the right person. But it has to start with the inner change inside of you. It has to start with making a decision that I'm ready to make peace between me and my soul. I'm ready to think in a different way. I'm ready to connect to my inner self, give up on certain things, and invest myself on a regular basis and really toil to get to my purpose, my goals. And what I think my mission is, every single one of you here has a mission. We all have a mission. When are we happy? We are happy, joyful, fulfilled when we fulfill our mission. when you're not fulfilling your mission, you feel empty. And that's why you waste yourself, you waste your time, you waste your energy, you waste your emotion. You have no self-respect because you just want to let things happen. Maybe I'm going to feel good. It's not about the feeling good. It's about living it up. When you know you have a purpose in life, when you have a dream, and it's hard for you to get to that dream, fulfill that mission, but you're doing it day in and day out, then suddenly you will find your life will be completely transformed. All the struggles we're born with are there for a purpose. It's there in order to elevate us to our true status. Can I share something very personal? I used to be the greatest balaganist. What I mean by balaganist is the whole concept of seder, of order, did not exist. When to sleep, how to sleep, where to sleep, on the couch, with my clothes, without my clothes, in my bed. When everything was chaos. To such an extent, I remember one day, my 4-year-old son at the time took my hat, my jacket, the briefcase, and he said, "Bye, I'm going to work." He goes to the door, he turns back, "Where are my keys? Where are my keys?" 4-year-old. That day I realized, one second, where did you learn that from? So one day I was fed up with myself. I said, how long are you going to live this balagan? You start things, you don't finish them. It's not good. This is not who you are. You're not focused. That lack of focus, this whole distraction, this is the Yetzer Hara himself trying to take your energy and just spread it thin. 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours on Instagram, and I don't know what, till 2 o'clock in the morning, you expect to have a good day the next day. And then it starts again because you feel tired and empty and lost control over yourself. And therefore you're not eating right, you're not taking care of your body, you're not taking care of anything. Everything is a big mess. So what did I do? I decided to hire a boss. I hired somebody. I said, it's very simple. I work for you now. Yeah. I'm going to pay you to work for you. On Monday we're going to meet. And I'm going to tell you all of my inspirations, all of my desires, everything I dream about to do, and I'm just going to brainstorm and just put it on paper. And you're just going to be my mirror. Great. On Wednesday, I'm going to meet with you again for 15, 20 minutes. And we're going to review what I did and what I didn't do. And like this, my mind, knowing that I'm meeting in 2 days, will push me to do what's the most uncomfortable and the most difficult for me. On Friday, we're going to meet another half an hour, and we're going to review what I did right and what I did wrong. And we're going to start this. And I did this for 1.5 years. The best 1.5 hours I paid for in the week. Why? Because losing consciousness, especially today, and I didn't have social media at the time, losing consciousness is the easiest thing to do. Wasting your life away is the easiest. Wasting time is the easiest thing to do. When you have that check-in and you're ready to face yourself, you can do it with a friend. I'll tell you, give you a simple exercise. Take a good friend and you tell them, you send them your 3 accomplishments of the day and 3 shortfalls of the day. You're going to see your accomplishments will always grow. And every day you're going to think, what did I accomplish today? Do I really want to spend that time wasting my time? 1 second, I have to do something because I'm going to have to report. that consciousness, that checking in is what's going to get you to your goals. That checking in with yourself is what's going to get you married and establish a home. Why? Because your vision is clear and you're doing something about it. They made a study, most people that make resolutions on December 31st. When do you think they review their resolutions? On December 31st of the next year. Baruch Hashem, we just started the new year. Today's Rosh Chodesh Cheshvan. We have a power which is incredible. Every single one of you has been given a power that you have no idea what you can do with this. You can either use it or waste it. The decision starts tonight. The way you're going to go back home, what you're going to put on your paper and say, this is what I'm accomplishing tomorrow. Every day, ask yourself 3 questions before you go to sleep. What did I accomplish today? What could I have accomplished today? And how tomorrow will be better than today? You do this, and you keep a tab on what you're accomplishing, you're going to be so energized. You're going to be so filled with your mission that nothing will stop you. The vision that you have for yourself as somebody that's successful financially, that's successful in their relationship, that's building their home, will become a reality. So this is my blessing to all of you. Bezrat Hashem, as we go into this new year, your relationship with yourself is in such a state of clarity and flow that you find the real person to share your life with. Good night.